welcome to the show, Supreme T. Excited to have you on the show, man. What's happening?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just living life and pitying fools, of course.
This feels a little surreal to me because honestly, like I grew up a big fan of MR.T, big fan of Rocky 3 particularly, but he was a mean dude on there. I also watched the cartoons with him. Literally, he was like a cultural icon, honestly, an absolute cultural icon. So I'm excited to have you on. I kind of came across your profile on TikTok, saw what you were doing. So I've got a lot of questions. I'm sure the listeners have a lot of questions too. This is fascinating, man. Well, I'll let you dive into you, really.
Heck yeah, man. This really started as just a Halloween costume a year ago, and when people had told me for years that, hey man, you remind me so much of MR.T, just aesthetically looking, and always had a mohawk and everything, but not to this, obviously not to this degree. But yeah, it started as a joke, and it kind of transformed after Halloween. I started posting to social media. It was still getting a lot of attention even when Halloween was over, and I went back to normal, and went back to just putting my hair back out and everything. And back in March when all this COVID stuff started, I wanted to find a way to make people happy. And I remember how happy I made people when I was going to work dressed up as MR.T. And so I was like, I remember calling my barber. I said, hey man, bringing MR.T back, and we're going to just do it full time from now on, and just give the people something to smile about. So back in March, I decided to cut my hair completely back off and full mohawk and pitying the fools, and going to work every day, making people smile, man. And I was a car salesman, and just a few months back in June, at the end of June, after doing it for a little bit and really growing social media and just making people smile, I decided to try to pursue this thing full time myself, and just try to make a name for myself. And the reason why I chose the name Mr. Supreme T is because, of course, everybody knows Brandon Wise Supreme. Kids love Supreme, and but everybody already knows when they see me who I look like, MR.T. So that was a way for me to combine and reach a younger generation while still having that grasp on the older generation, just like you grew up watching MR.T and everything else.
Yeah, this is absolutely fascinating. Again, I got so many questions to ask you. First and foremost, is there a lot of people like you doing this, or are you literally like the only one? I mean, where are you located, by the way, also?
I don't see a lot. There's a guy in the UK. There's another, people go Comic Cons and do Halloween and stuff like that. It's MR.T. But as far as somebody that does it full time, I look like this every day. So and adding to that, to the degree that how serious I take this, a few months back after I decided to go full time, I started looking for an 18 van, right?
Right.
So I started reaching out, making some calls, and one gentleman in particular I had hit up after everybody else saying no, I already sold it, blah blah blah. He reaches back out to me. He goes, long story short, hey man, I love what you do. You do fundraisers for kids. You make people happy. You make me happy. I just want to give you my 18 van. So
wow,
just gave it to me. I just drove to Indiana. The guy's name is Jeremy Derringer. I mean, not in a million years of doing this will I think somebody would give me a vehicle, a car period, but let alone an 18 van, just because I started this just to make people happy, man. So it just comes to show me that I'm on the right path, man. And, we're just going to see where this thing goes.
Yeah, I'm starting this new podcast. You're actually my second episode, so I'm excited to have you on. And for me, my why is, there's a couple of reasons why my why is. Partly losing my dad back in 2015. Me and him watched sports together, watched 80s movies, big Rocky fan. So my why is, I want to kind of leave the legacy and my passion for sports. Now with you, is it more just helping people, or is it just your passion about MR.T and what he's done? And are you reliving that like 80s nostalgia? What is it like? What is the main reason why are you, because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of maintenance, clearly, which we're going to talk about physical fitness, obviously maintaining the grooming. It's insane. What is your why here? Why are you doing this?
My why is literally, like I said before, it's just to make people happy, man, just to make the world smile. I mean, especially nowadays, especially this year, man,
Right.
everything that's going on, I just wanted to make people smile, man. And I mean, what better way to make people smile than bringing them back to their childhood? I mean, one of my favorite things to do is when I see a guy that's, 35, 40 years old and comes running up to me. He's like, "Oh my God, Mr. T." And, you leave, then their kids go, "Who is Mr. T?"
Right.
And I go, "I pity the fool if you ain't showed them kids Rocky 3 yet."
Yeah.
But man, it's just a blast just doing that, man. And I just can continue to get blessed while I do it, man.
It's pretty remarkable. So let's talk a little bit about the grooming. So how often do you have to get your hair done? I mean, I'm assuming because with me, I'm a hairy dude. So when I shave, I get the 5 o'clock shadow. So I just don't even clean shave here anymore. I just kind of go with the little scruff look. Like, are you kind of getting a main cut and then you maintain it? How often are you at the barber shop, really?
So I'm at the barbershop typically. I mean, just seeing everything, keeping everything slick and keeping the sideburns intact, and the beard's easy because it can just grow as wild as it wants. But I'm at the barbershop probably every, I want to say 5 to 7 days, just about every week.
Wow.
Just to look my pitiest. So
Right. Like, I'm curious. There's so many other questions. Like, okay, so you're walking down. Like, are you walking down? Like, is this your daily wardrobe? Because with me, I wear my fantasy football counselor shirt a lot. My wife's yelling at me, "So would you take that shirt off?" How does it? Like, are you walking? First of all, are you walking around like this all day?
Yes.
Wow, that's great. Okay, and then I can only imagine, like, what are the types of reactions that you get on a daily basis? Is it like, "Oh my God, oh, can I get an autograph?" Like, is this like a constant attention grab? Obviously it is, but like, is it an attention grabber, and how does it feel like on a daily basis? Can you walk me through a day?
So as the first thing is understanding and accepting yourself, accepting, what it is that you're trying to achieve. Once you accept what you're trying to achieve and what you look like, you can go out and do anything. And that's the biggest thing about people, man. So, once I summed up the courage that, hey, most people some people are going to go, "Oh, you look like a fool," or, well, nobody's going to say that directly to me, or they may think that, but majority has it. People are going to go, "Oh my God, it's Mr. T."
Right.
And then of course they come up to me, I give them my introduction, I go, I'm 41 years younger than Mr. T, but hey, I'm here to pity a fool just like him, and I love him to death. So, just as far as the daily basis goes, if I'm just jumping into the 18 van and going for a ride down the street, I'll throw everything on, man. People will see the van and start smiling and waving, and then they see me and have to do a double take, like, what the heck is going on here? How is Mr. T driving the 18 van through my neighborhood right now? And it's just a blast, man, making those smiles happen.
Now, psychologically, what does this do for you? Because you've seen actors, Christian Bale, all these guys go to extreme measures to alter their body to fit a role. Now, the good thing for you is it's a good body, like you're fit, like it's actually a positive thing. It's not like we're asking to be a character that's, out of shape or anything like that. Mentally, do you feel, this is a crazy question here, but do you actually feel like you're Mr. T? Is there times where you're like, "Oh my God, I've taken this identity, I feel like him"? Have you kind of detached yourself from the real you?
I haven't detached myself from the real me at all, because the thing is, I'm still me. When people come up to me, they ask me, I get asked all the time, like, "How often do you act like Mr. T?" I go, maybe 5% of the time if I'm doing a quick video or something. But I'm 95% of the time, including right now, I'm myself. This is just an exterior image.
Right.
Right. This is just the outside. This is just what you see. But when you speak to me, when you talk to me, it's me. I'm my own man, And that's one thing I do get asked that all the time. So that was a great question, man. But yeah, I'm myself 95% of the time, man. This is just what I look like, man.
So maybe near the end of the show, we could do like a 1 minute role play thing here, if you don't mind. I want to see you in character. I mean, you're in character like physically, I can see it, but I want to actually see you in character. I want to talk to Mr. T. I want to talk to the guy that I think we should do that near the end. Is that I'm testing you today. I want to bring guests. There's a couple missions here that I want to accomplish with every show. I want to bring value to people. I want to entertain people. I also want to educate people. So we're going to talk about fitness and health. But I also want to just learn about people, learn about the psychology of what goes in your head when you do things. And that's something I'm really fascinated about, a psychological thought process and what makes you do what you do. So one of my main focuses on this show is just getting people that are relatively successful or people that are in a groove of what they do. Like tomorrow, I've got Chris Gronkowski, the brother of Rob Gronkowski, coming on. I've got some really cool guests coming up, and we keep growing. It's exciting. It's only episode 2, so it's a long journey, and I'm ready to do this for the long haul. So, again, at the end, I kind of want to dive into and kind of role play, and we'll talk about that in a second. But, okay, let's talk about physical fitness here, okay? So, obviously, you're in good shape. I mean, is this something that were you already in shape before, or is this something you took on more now? And is it kind of a constant reminder to remain in shape? Like, you can't let up, right, with physical fitness?
Correct. So, I played college football, and that was another thing that Mr. D was a football player as well. I've always been a bigger guy. I've always been, plus 240 pounds, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't until recently in the last couple of months, I really got back in the gym and decided to really hit it hard, man, just for my own physical well-being. But as far as upholding the image, I didn't have to like drop a bunch of weight or anything else like that. Just to fit the part, even though I have gained muscle in the last year since I've been doing this. And, but yeah, you definitely don't want to have a unappealing image when you go and broadcast yourself the way I do. So yeah, physical fitness is definitely a big part of it. And, I definitely learned on this fitness journey that the importance of food, using food as fuel opposed to as a reward to yourself. And now, the difference is in the last year, I'd love to show it to you, but the difference from now to last year are uncanny. It's crazy.
To anyone listening, including myself, because I try to stay in shape, but metabolism, declines when you hit over 30. It just kind of declines. And I got like a little home gym now. I got a punching bag. I got one of those speed bags, got some weights, got trampoline, battle rope. I'm going. Any advice in regards to how to maintain? Is it more diet? Like how many hours a week are you lifting? Can you kind of give us like a brief draft of like how you work out? Any tips to the listeners on how to get in shape to kind of, I'd say, look like you? Let's do that. How do you look like Mr. T?
Man, so I think one of the first things you want to do is take a look at your diet. Take a look at your diet. Take a look at what you're putting in your body. When you wake up in the morning, what are you going? Are you going more carb heavy? What are your activities going to consist of? And also the other thing is when you go into one thing I notice about lifting is when I go in and get a hell of a lift in, I go hit the iron hard and, go run or do whatever I'm doing. When I'm done lifting, the things that I'm craving are so minimal. Like I'm not craving ice cream and pink, jelly sandwiches and things like that, donuts and things like that, because mentally your body is telling you like, I need fuel. I don't need junk right now. It's just like, think of this. If you're driving a car that needs 93 octane, like a BMW or a Lexus or something, you're not going to go put 87 unleaded fuel in it. You're going to go put 93 octane in it, correct?
Right.
Your body is the same way. You got to put the right fuel in the car, man, for that sucker to run right.
Absolutely. I mean, it must be a daunting task to maintain that physique. Now, is there pressure on you? Because, I mean, we're talking Mr. T here. We're talking cultural icon. We're talking a guy that was everywhere, kind of an omnipresence on TV, media. I would say early 80s, I would say all the way to the 2000s. This guy was like, how long was his kind of reign in the TV? It was a long time, right?
His reign was a really long time. What better time than to have this image, to have Mr. T's image than right now with the social media age as big as it is.
Right.
And, you can think back on like, oh, if somebody was an Elvis impersonator, blah, 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 probably not going to sit as well as somebody who was a genuine role model to the kids and to the people. And that's one thing that keeps me going every day, man, is to know that I'm somebody that people can look up to. I'm somebody the kids can look up to, more importantly, man. And keeping that community outreach is the most important thing that I do. That's what I.
So is there a lot of pressure to maintain this particular look? Like, you can't let your hair grow in a certain way. You can't go in as a half-assed Mr. T, right? Because then you look like a drunk Mr. T and you're misrepresenting, right? So is there like a pressure to you on a daily basis? Okay, that's got to look this way. Like, is it a constant? It's obviously a constant maintenance, but do you feel the pressure that you got to maintain this persona the right way?
But that also goes back to me being myself. So, it goes back to me being myself. This is just an outward image, no matter, it's not incredibly tough for me to, because my face physically looks like him, but it's not incredibly tough for my hair to grow out some, and, because guess what? I'm still going to have mohawk and sideburns. It's going to be longer than everything else. But yes, I do want to stay, physically fit, especially now that I have this body. I don't want to look back, a year from now, like, damn, I used to be pretty good looking, a year ago or 2 years ago. So that is a pressure I've added to myself. But man, honestly, you don't feel the pressure when you're in the moment. You do not feel the pressure when you're in the moment. So I think that's one of the most important things right now for me is, man, that moment is every day. You got to get up, and I think somebody said you got to get up and act like somebody's filming a documentary on your life every day. And that's what I do, man. So that's how I keep the pressure going and use it to my.
Now, are you actually married? How do the girls treat you with this? I don't know if you have how's the love life?
So it's I can't complain. But that's also, I'm glad you brought that up, man, because that's something I think about too. Now, before I started cutting my hair like this, I was a handsome dude. I mean, still, I was a handsome dude. But man, early on when I first started doing it, I didn't have the full confidence in what I look like as far as my hair went and everything. Once I accepted myself, once you accept yourself and accept what your outward appearance is, that goes out the window. Because I mean, how many times have you walked down the street? You're a pretty handsome guy. How many times you walked into a restaurant, super hot girl there,
Right,
with some ugly dude? There you go.
right. What you do with that guy, right?
How did he get on? He's got a Rolls Royce out here or something? And that's not always the case, man. Because guess what? That ugly dude knows who he is on the inside, and that's what's important. And women know that. Women notice that. They pick up on that. They pick up on when you're confident in yourself, not cocky, but confident in yourself, man. So I have the confidence of pitying fools and making.
Believe it or not, in another life, I'm now happily married. I studied the art of pickup artistry, so I understood how things work psychologically and how to pick up. Now, this is very interesting here because what you are doing is called peacocking. I don't know if you're familiar with the peacock. Now, this was something that was very popular in the pickup artistry term. So you'd walk into a bar. There's a couple things. There's social proof that takes a factor. So if you're walking in with two girls, obviously other girls look at you and say, hey, that guy's got two girls. What is he doing? Kind of what we were talking about the other guy, right? What does he got? Does he got a Rolls Royce? Does he got a Lambo? What is it with that guy? Because he's with that attractive person. With you are constantly peacocking. Like, you are, like, if we're in a room, I'm looking at you. I mean, there's no denying it. So that's something that probably could work to your advantage if you go to a bar or club. Now, do you go out into social life like this, or do you dress into it like a t-shirt, sweater, put a cap on, and kind of go away from the Mr. T, or you always enroll when you're socially engaging?
I mean, when I'm socially engaging, man, I'm honestly, I'll go to downtown Nashville. I'll jump in the 18 van. I'll have everything on and full dress, man. And the thing is, I'm not going out to just like go out and party, blah 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 blah. I'm going out to make some people smile, man, because that's what makes me happy. That's what fulfills me in life now. I left a great paying job, man, 6-figure income, like doing a hell of a job, and to pursue this thing. And man, I have never had more fulfillment in my life than putting all my gold on, putting my rings on, putting my feathers on, jumping in that van and driving and just making people smile, man. So
sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like a lot of fun. I want to come there and I want to fly out and hang out with you for a day. I think we should do that one day. I'd be so excited.
I ain't getting on no plane.
I'd be excited to do that. I mean, that's just fascinating. And that's the problem with society these days. And I talk about lion mentality and sheep herd. I left a job. I was making, I don't know, it depends. I guess if you include the car compensation. I was a sales guy. I sold hydraulic cylinders to plants. I'd go in. I felt unfulfilled. I'd listen to shows at the time, Howard Stern. I'd listen to all these other influencers. I'd be like, damn, I want my own platform. At the time, there wasn't no Spotify. YouTube, I think it was there. But either way, the point I'm trying to make is something my soul was saying, there's got to be more. So I started into sports, and it was scary because when you make that leap, you're like, okay, I'm leaving a 60 to 100 grand job, and it's a bit of fear. But the passion you get, like right now I'm doing this, I don't feel I'm working. Like this doesn't feel like work at all. I'm chilling, I'm hanging out with Mr. T. I mean, how cool is this? And I'm also providing value to other people, but I think there's a fear of people, I gotta leave this 9 to 5, I'm not happy doing whatever I'm doing, to take that leap. But I encourage you, and you're a perfect example of this, to take that leap, do that. You have one life to live, do it, make people happy, live the life, fulfill, right? Does this make sense?
Man, it makes perfect sense. And I'm going to tell you this, the biggest thing about when you go to pursue your dreams, even while you're trying to pursue them or before you get to pursue them, this is where a lot of people go wrong. They let the insecurities of other people change their mind. Even your family members, your mom, your dad, they may have worked 40 years and retired now. And they can hardly walk, but they're retired. They got money in the bank, but guess what? They can't really enjoy it, and they put those same insecurities like you gotta go to college, graduate, do this, do that, do the other. Because guess what, man? I'm gonna tell you the truth. Tell you something about me. Went to college, played college football, graduated. I bought 2 new houses, and before I was 25 years old, man. I've owned over 20 some cars, like. I've been married, been divorced, done it all. I mean, I've done everything that you could everything that people tell you that's going to make you happy. I've done it already. And guess what? I got no fulfillment out of it. This fulfills me more than anything I've ever done in my life. And that's what it's all about. I would have hated to have been unfulfilled for 40 years than to spend a year, 2 or 3 years making people happy.
Right. It's a lot of comfort for people. Some people stay in certain situations, whether it be relationships or a certain job, because it feels comfortable. And all you got to do is break out. It's going to feel a little uncomfortable, right? I listen to some motivational speeches and stuff on my phone. I'm on Spotify when I'm working out. I'll send you some of the clips that I listen to. It's really amazing, some of the stuff I listen to. It's kind of like the voiceover with the Coliseum music and stuff like that. There's some really cool stuff. And one of the sayings that says, the more comfort you feel, the more uncomfortable life makes you. So yeah, you feel comfortable at the moment, but really, are you comfortable and are you fulfilled? And the answer is no. So yeah, I mean, getting out of your comfort zone is an amazing thing. And again, I can't stop thinking about what you've done. It's unbelievable. You walk around, you stand out, you're peacocking, you look great. It's amazing. So unbelievable. Now, I'm curious here though. Have you met Mr. T yet? Have you actually physically talked to him? Have you met him? Does he know you exist? How is it going with Mr. T directly?
So I haven't met him yet. His daughter, Erica Nicole Clark, she's a friend of mine on Instagram. Her and I've had the FaceTime conversations, when all this started. And the day she called me, I was fully dressed up. I was at work, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, wow, you look just like my dad. And she was like, if I called him right now, he didn't even look like this. And she said she's shown him my stuff, man. And, that's a dream of mine that one day I get a call from Mr. T, man. I'm probably gonna break down and cry like a little bit.
What's it gonna take? I mean, you don't want to be a super fan. I hate doing that. I'm not one of those guys that gets starstruck anymore. But it'd be pretty damn cool if I met Mr. T or Hogan or Stallone or stuff like. I met Stallone years ago. He was doing a photo shoot for one of his lower budget movies, Avenging Angel. That was back in 2001. But I don't really get starstruck. I also met Dolph Lundgren recently. He was at a convention, went up on stage, shook his hand. Felt a little starstruck there because he was the He-Man, right? And I grew up as a kid. He-Man was a big part of my childhood, right? So like, you don't want to be a super fan, but how do you bridge that gap? How do you create that network and say, hey, you know, I want to meet you, I want to talk to you without seeming like a super fan? Have you thought of ways to reach out to them?
Man, believe it or not, I have. I mean, but you know, I don't dwell on it way too much as far as like, oh my God, it's going to be it's an absolute end game for me, because it's not. I didn't start this just so I can, you know, meet and be the best friends with Mr. T or anything. I admit this because I respect him, I love him, and you know, he has been a shine of light, a gleam of light in my life, and to millions of other people, you know, especially growing up. So, you know, and for me to be able to, you know, it's not by mistake. God doesn't make mistakes. It's not it's not a mistake that I look like this. It's not a mistake that I have the personality that I have and the physical, you know, being that I am. And I think it was just something I was supposed to do, man. And if Mr. T comes about and gives me that pat on the back and an extra bit of love, man, it's just gonna make it that much more worth it, man. But you know, whether I get a chance to speak to Mr. T or not, I'm just gonna keep, keeping his image alive and keeping positivity flowing with it and behind it, and you know, just keep making the world a better place as long as I can, man. As long as God tells me to keep doing it.
I'm glad your mission is pure, because again, I'm gonna, you know, speak on behalf of the haters and people. You can't care what people think, but if I'm looking at you and I'm just an average guy, I might think a couple things. I might think, wow, that's super cool, right? That's what I thought. Like, that's cool, man. You know, other people, they say, who is this idiot? He's a gimmick, right? And that's what you're probably going to get from a majority of people. This guy's a gimmick. But I'm glad that your mission isn't just like, hey, this is a money grab for me. This is a popularity. I'm being a narcissist. It's actually to make people laugh and smile, which actually works. You are making a difference because it breaks up the monotony, the randomness. You're adding some randomness to the day and some uncertainty in what I believe is a sheep culture and a society where everything is cookie cutter and everyone's trying to fit and conform. And that is why I'm so fascinated by you and drawn by you, because you don't give a shit. You're out there to make people laugh. You're out there to make people smile. And that's what I like. And to me, when it was Halloween, I'd go out with Spider-Man. But I'd only kind of do it at Halloween. But I'd walk in the grocery stores. I was Spartan once. I was wearing these short shorts. It looked really ridiculous, but I was walked around the whole day. And people were looking at me laughing, but I didn't really care, because I really don't care what people think. People are more insecure with themselves, I think, than you. You're just there as a minor distraction. They'll forget about you in 5 minutes. It's you that's got to live with you. So again, I admire what you're doing here, and I like the fact that you're doing it with a good purpose, a good intention.
Yeah, and I tell you this, you know, the same confidence that you had on Halloween, you know, walking, you know, people have all the confidence in the world putting a Halloween costume on, you know, 2 days ago and walking around everywhere. But why not carry on that same confidence that you have when you walk into somewhere, you know, with your Spider-Man outfit on or whatever it may have been? Why not have that confidence 365 days a year? Why only have that confidence when people tell you it's okay to have it?
And that's the problem. And this is why I do what I do. This is why I'm building what I'm building, because there's something in my soul that says there's something wrong with the world. I'll tell you, I have a 3-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son, and they scream, they yell, they have fun. You know, they're jumping on couches. They're doing things that we're naturally, you know, I'm not saying we got to do that every day, but I'm saying that we're kind of just in, you know, we live this box life. We're in a box cubicle, watching a box TV. Everything's in a box. We're always kind of conformed and tight and sheep mentality. This is wrong, this is right. And I think society, schooling, the old Methodist schooling, put your hand up, do this, do that, it's kind of breaks down the human spirit. Going back to the motivational videos I was listening to, I'm listening to this, and he says, one of the videos, like, you come out in this world, you're kicking, you're screaming, you know, you're a kid, and then what happens is society just beats you down, and it beats you down, and the fake media, you know, kind of, this is what you gotta do, this is the image you gotta present. Who says you gotta do that? Who says you gotta be that? Do what you want, do what you feel, as long as, in my opinion, you're doing it in a constructive, positive way, and impacting and helping the community and helping people. And again, I love what you're doing for the fact that you're doing it for a positive reason.
Absolutely, man. And you're absolutely right. That's because that's exactly what was going on with me. I mean, on the first, 25 years of life, man, like did everything that everybody told me was going to make you happy, going to make you feel fulfilled, man. Did those things, man. And once once you do them, you kind of get to the end of the road. You're like, is this the rest? Is this me the next 30, 40 years?
Right.
Like, you live a life of conformity and then you die? Like, that's it?
Right.
Is that it? Is that all the fun you can have? You can have your fun on, 2 vacation weeks a year, blah, blah. You're going to do that for the next 40 years. And
that's pathetic. I can't live like that. You got to leave that legacy, right?
I can no longer fathom the thought of that. No matter what happens with this, I can no longer fathom the thought of that. That absolutely breaks me down and keeps me going every day, man. Like, I'm not going to live a life like that. I don't care what it costs me. I don't care if it costs me the most beautiful woman in the world, or
right.
just all kinds of things, man, because you have to be comfortable with you.
And that's why a lot of people DM me, like, I want to get on your show. I'm like, well, what are you doing? And I'm not saying that it's okay if you want to work at Walmart and you're a greeter. That's fine. That's what you want to do. I kind of want to hear inspirational stories. I want people that have taken the leap, jumped out of their comfort zone. Again, if you want to live that life and you're okay with it, that's up to you. For me personally, I would be sick to my stomach if I worked for somebody. And there's a ton of stories I can get into. It'd be too long of a podcast to get into on why I left and the conformity that there was in the workplace, right? Working the 9-to-5s, no matter what field you're in. It just, there's this corporate structure and this white collar analyst view of things. It's terrible. So break free, be yourself. I'm glad we got that message across. Now I want to switch gears. We've been on the bright spot. Let's kind of talk a little bit. I don't really want to talk about this stuff, but I didn't want to bring it to the show, but it needs to be addressed. And I'm going to throw this on you, but we want to talk about inequality here a little bit. We saw the inequality towards blacks and with the policing and all that. I don't want to dive too much into politics too much, but I do want to tell you, man, it's unfair. And this should have been happening a long time ago, where we're addressing the inequality and that type of thing. You being, this role model with the inequality. Now, if a cop pulled you over, no matter what, if he's racist or not, I can imagine him being friendly to you no matter what, right? I mean, how cool is it, Mr. T? But how have you addressed, and has it become, you being a symbol in the industry, has the inequality, have people reached out to you about this? Has it become an issue with you, being who you are? How have you been impacted by the inequality that's been going on? And how do you feel about everything in a nutshell?
Well, how I feel as far as inequality goes, man, I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood in Memphis, Tennessee. Didn't have a white friend until I was 19 years old when I was in college, Tennessee Tech. And, as far as racial things, I've been called everything in the book you can possibly think of, because I was a bouncer back in the day too.
Right.
And, and there was another thing, Mr. Chief, he was a bouncer too. So it's funny how all those things line up. Anyway, but no matter what happens in life, that's life in general. Everybody's always going to have a reason not to like you.
Right.
No matter if they're the same color as you, if they're, the same gender as you, whatever, somebody's always going to find a reason not to like you. And right now, it's finally being addressed. The inequality is finally being addressed and everything, but it's not our only problem. It's not our only problem. It's not our only problem in the black community or any community in general. And, that's also a part of the reason why I'm glad I get to do this, because I get to reach to everybody. I get to reach to, to black, white, Latino, people of all racial backgrounds, and bring everybody together, man. That's what I've been about from the start, since all this stuff happened this year, is just bringing people to get together. Because, yes, I've been pulled over by the police, and I can honestly say I've had maybe one bad incident with the police officer, but it was this was back in college, but it was on the grounds of, of everybody. Some cops out there trying to play too much into the role. You know what I'm saying? But once the guy ran my license and seen I had nothing to hide, it was cool after that. So but you just got to take it on the chin. Sometimes you just got to take it on the chin, man, and keep it rolling, man, and learn to live another day. Because guess what? I've been pulled over a bunch of times since then, and I've had a lot more warnings than I have tickets. So it's a shaky ground you give on, man. But I learned to give respect and get respect back. And of course, that makes life easier, no matter who you're dealing with in life, no matter if it's somebody you think in your workplace, maybe, racist or people in general in any workplace.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm glad I got your feedback on that. I just want to get some thoughts. I grew up being a brown kid, and I was a little darker skin, and there was a lot of white people in my elementary school at the time, and I was made fun of back in the day and stuff like that. And I was a chubby kid too, so that didn't help the matter. So I've dealt with it, and it's tough. And I'm glad that right now, people are starting to crack down on it, and this should have happened a long time ago, honestly, to be honest with you. But again, I just want to get your thoughts. Being a guy in your position, I thought that maybe you came across it or people reach out to you for help on that if they are feeling, because again, you are the guy, you are a symbol, you are going to be seen as a cultural icon. And some of these parents that are growing up have kids that are being bullied in school, whether it be race or being overweight or just being different, right? Because you are different wearing this outfit. There's no doubt about it, right? So a lot of people may come to you like, what's it like wearing this outfit? And you look like, you stand out, you got the gold chains, you got, so maybe people come up to you and ask you just different questions. Like, how does it feel to stand out wearing an outfit all day, right? So it's really unique. So I just had to pick your brain on that. That's all. So also, again, with Mr. T, he is now a born-again Christian. I don't know, was he a Christian before? Any update on how he's living? He's 68 years old. What is he doing? Is he at all in the media eye at all? What's going on with Mr. T?
He and that's funny. And I'm 27, he's 68. Our birthday's about a week apart. We're both Geminis, so that's another fun fact. But man, that man is just a God-fearing man. He loves his mother just like I do, and I mean, he gives all the glory to God, man, and just focus on giving back and just praising the name of Jesus. And man, I live my life just like that, man. And it's not because I'm mimicking how he lived. It's just me finding out that all these commonalities that we have are there, like it wasn't like I looked up research. Oh, was he a Christian? No, he was a bouncer. It's just these things have happened in my life that I started connecting the dots. Like, oh wow, because I didn't find out until I got older that Mr. T was as Christian, as strong in his Christian values as he is, man. And it's just something special to be able to idolize and be able to resemble a person of that caliber. Right. Spiritually, so. Yeah, I'm glad that, whatever you believe in, I'm a faith person myself. So I believe that you should believe in something. That's my kind of philosophy on that. I think that faith is very important, and it's very important. I think there's something else out there. I mean, that's a whole other deeper conversation when you look at that. But I mean, there's got to be something at the end of the tunnel here for all of us. And I believe that having faith is a very important thing. And I'm glad that he's done that, and he's a believer, and he's, it turned out good for him, knock on wood. A lot of athletes and people under the media eye don't have so much luck, right? So I'm glad that he turned out to be a good inspiration to everybody and have, inspired for people like you to take on that role, to be that big of an icon, to have somebody take on a role to entertain like him is pretty amazing. And it happens so fast. Amazing. You look at him like, oh my God, because I find that his image is frozen in my mind from Rocky 3. And it's like, you look at him now and it's like, oh my God, he doesn't look like that anymore. And it's too bad we got to get old. Like, there's a big line, I think Apollo said it, or was it Rocky? He's like, too bad we got to get old, Stallion. You know what I mean? It's just part of it. So again, going back to it, it's a short life. We want to live it. We want to live it to the fullest. That's the bottom line. So. It's funny you just mentioned that too, because, when people are on my TikTok and they see my stuff, they see me and they, start making comments. My top comments are you the guy from Rocky 3? Or you blah, 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 da, 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 da. And you the guy from the A-Team, you be able Rockets. And people it doesn't stick to people that, man, this movie came out in 83. Like Mr. T, there's no way Mr. T. I know they say black don't crack. There ain't no way Mr. T looking like this. Even people who are older than me coming to me, oh my God, it's Mr. T. You're like, bro, are you the real Mr. T? I go, man, I only been driving for about 10 years, so it's like, there's no way.
I can't believe people actually think you're him. That's crazy.
Because because images of celebrities stick in your head. Like you have painted an image. Once you paint an image of somebody, they are that age forever. Like my mom is still the same age to me in my head, no matter how old she gets and no matter how much she may physically change. She's still the same age because I have this painted picture of her in my head, just like anybody else, man. So, you know, it's just part of life. I think once we get a perception of somebody, it kind of sticks with us.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, but can we just do a quick 1 minute thing before we go here? I just want to get a scene. Should we do a Rocky scene? I play something. All right. Why don't I play Rocky? You play Mr. T just for 30 seconds to a minute. I don't do a very good Rocky, but I'll do my best. How about that? And we could just maybe talk about because there was in Rocky 3, if you watched it, Mr. T beat Rocky once, and then he avenged it. He beat him again, right? So maybe we could talk about a third matchup. How about that? All right, here we go. You ready? I got to stretch here. We got to get this going. All right. Hey, yo, Mr. T, you know, it wasn't such a good thing you did. You know, you pushed Mickey ends up dying. You know, I had to avenge him. Now you want a rematch? I mean, that wasn't a very nice thing you did, you know?
Shut up, fool. I'll tell you this. You come rematch me a third time, sucker, it's going to be pain. And it's going to be pain again. It's going to be pain the fourth time, sucker. No matter how many times you come around, it's going to be the same pain in this game.
You know, that's not very nice of you. You know, I go out there, I beat you, you kill Mickey. You know, you're not being very empathetic here. You know, this is where your feelings, you know?
Shut up, you has-been, because I told you this, and I told that fool Mickey before he came up and touched me when he went down that I was going to beat you. You should have never came back, sucker, and you ain't going to come back again because I'm going to bring the pain to you.
That's really good. I just want to I don't do a very good Rocky. I kind of butchered that, but no, it's really, really good. You got that down.
But I mean, Rocky 3 brings tears to my eyes every time I watch it, man, because it's my favorite scene is hey woman.
Yeah.
Seeing as your old man ain't got no heart, maybe you'd like to see a real man.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes. Yeah, I love that scene. I love that. Come to my place to be a real man. Yeah, I love that part. That's one of my favorite parts where he's getting awarded the big statue. And I understand Mr. T was obviously better. And, you know, we know that Rocky was handed down those fights. You know, there were the has-beens he was fighting, and Mr. T was hungry. And that's the analogy I use with my competitions. Straight up, this is the analogy I use. I want to tell you about this. It's actually because my competition, they're like Rocky when he's getting the kisses from the girls. And they're playing a song, and he's relaxing. And I'm literally, when I'm working, I'm putting out podcasts, I'm working out, I'm always on the grind. I'm like Mr. T in Rocky 3 when he's training hard for that win. That's the mentality that I have sometimes in my entrepreneurial ventures. That's a really good contrast of me versus the sheep in my industry. That's what I'm dealing with.
Yep. And just like you said, man, it's, you know, on one side of it, people are looking for the fame and the glamour and everything. And on the other side, it's that dude that's in the background that nobody knows about that is working his ass off and, you know, hitting it hard as he possibly can because he's trying to get his moment.
The eye of the tiger. I mean, Mr. T had the eye of the tiger. He had the eye of the tiger. Rocky lost the eye of the tiger. It took Apollo to pull him over. And that movie just still gives me goosebumps. I can rewatch the entire saga over and over, and I still cry when Apollo dies. And I still cry when Mickey dies. Because it's not so much that I'm sad that Mickey died or Apollo. I was when I was like 5 or 6. I thought that they really died and I was really sad. But it's the fact that it relates to a lot of people because it's the underdog story. And me losing my dad, and I used to watch this movie a lot with my dad, it reignites the memories, and then losing somebody in the movie, losing someone in real life. The movies are timeless. I mean, they're absolutely timeless. And if there's any character that you want to entertain for, it's this movie saga. It's going to be timeless. At least for the next 20 to 30 years, people are going to remember Rocky. You can't be forgotten.
Absolutely. And it got something else, man. As far as the entire Rocky series go, I don't give a damn what Rocky it is. Every person that is of our mindset, everybody who is the wolf over the sheep mentality, who grew up and watched those movies, everybody has a favorite Rocky movie that they can relate their life to.
Right.
They always think about. Mine's is Rocky 3, obviously. Yours maybe Rocky 4.
More Rocky 4, I think. Yeah, I liked Rocky 4. I was torn. I'm still torn on which one I like better out of those movies. And so you're saying Rocky 3 easily for you.
Yeah, and of course, like, David, you heard of David Goggins, he talks about all the time how much Rocky won when Rocky and Apollo fought, and how Rocky kept getting back up. He said that is the mentality you have to have, man. So those movies are absolute staples in the American culture and staples in the culture of being somebody who is just being somebody that's different, man, that's creating their own story.
That book changed my life as well. Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins, what he went through from the the mistreating of the not being equal in society. He was mistreated and called every word in the book, and then he overcame adversity. He was beaten by his dad, and then he overcame adversity. And he talks about that Rocky scene. I think it's Rocky round 14 or 12 or whatever it is, where Rocky keeps coming at Apollo, and it's that face that Apollo makes where he's like, oh my God, this guy keeps coming at me. And that's how I approach life. That's how I approach entrepreneurship. And that's how I approach everything I do, is that I keep coming. And there is no competition, man. There's only domination. I heard that once, and that's what I'm all about. And I'm glad that you are, doing what you believe in. And you basically, it would be very hard. And I think you said there's not a lot of people that do what you do that you're familiar with. But it'd be very hard to do what you're doing on the level that you're doing it. I don't see anybody coming close to doing what you're doing, right? Am I wrong, or does that make sense? I don't think there's anyone else that could do this the way you're doing it.
You're right, man. And I think because it takes a level of commitment, it takes a level of commitment to do anything and be, anybody can be a Mr. T for Halloween, but it's funny because when I went to a Halloween party, they're like, oh my God, that's an amazing costume. I go, if only you knew, this is, I'll look like this on November 1st, dog.
That is pretty amazing. So if you're getting married, let's just say, I don't know, you've been married, I don't know if you're married now. If let's say your wedding day or an event of your niece or nephew, are you always going, like, on your wedding day, would you dress like this, or would you go out and wear an actual tuxedo and do something different?
Oh man, no, my next wedding day, it depends on where I'm at in life, obviously, but oh, dude, it's I'll put a tux on. I'll be like B.A. Baracus. I'll have a tux on, the gold chains on top.
You gotta have a
tux accent. And the 18 van with just married on the back of it. So yeah.
So then, you're gonna have to find a woman that likes that, and that's good. They're gonna like you for you and what you're doing, and that's what you need to do. You need to attract the person that believes in your vision. Because, again, with me, I found somebody that supports what I do. Because I'm in the studio a lot of time recording, and I'm talking fantasy football. I remember my honeymoon. It was like I went at midday. I'm just recording in the lobby in St. Lucia. I'm sitting there recording a live Q&A with my fantasy fans on my honeymoon. So there's got to be a special type of woman that's gonna like you for you.
And I think I'm glad you brought that up because. For what I do, you can find somebody that'll like you and like you for a little bit. But when you find somebody that's truly committed to you and dedicated to you for what you do and who you are, that makes a huge difference, man. And that's also the challenge I'm gonna face here is just trying to find somebody who's gonna be committed to what I do, just like I am, and be not just okay with it, but be a part of it. So. It makes a difference, man. You're absolutely right.
Last thing I want to ask you, are you doing Comic-Cons, and do you get a lot of phone calls for parties and stuff? Like, how are you making an income? How is this sustainable? Do you get a lot of calls?
Yep. So I'll do, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We're good. It's just an unstable internet connection. So I'm on a couple of things like Cameo. You may have heard of Cameo.
Yeah.
I charge to do shout outs on there. I do appearances. Somebody may have called me out to come say happy birthday or something like that, or just to make an appearance. I get income from that, from like gig selling stuff and personal calls and reach out. And also my biggest thing is I call it 18 advertising, the 18 advertising, because I do have the van. Locally, a lot of people reach out to me to come like, hey man, I got a demolition company. Can you come and shoot a commercial for me? I'll charge people, to do a social media spot for that. Because here's the thing. What isn't more recognizable than be able to Rockets from the A team, and tearing shit up. I mean, it's that's a funny one I'm putting together right now, but that's how I'm making the income right now. Is it anywhere near what I was making when I was in sales? But no, but I mean,
Not yet.
it fulfills, not yet, but it fulfills me. It puts food on the table, man, and it keeps me going every day to be able to do this, man. So, but that's just like starting any business. As soon as you go into business for yourself, you're not going to be breaking necks and making all the sales in the world, So
I can imagine them. Have they made a movie about Mr. T? Because I can imagine. I would say that you should get a call. I mean, I would say network should be all over doing something about Mr. T, right?
I actually got something in the works here that I'm going to announce here on social media here in just a few days. So it's gonna be big news. So I'll make sure we got to come back on and talk about it. Talk about the aftermath once I'm done, man. But I'm super excited. I got to keep it on the low for right now.
Cool. Yeah, keep it. Yeah, we don't want to spoil anything like that. So, all right.
It's gonna be huge. I'm telling you, man. It's gonna be huge.
I'm excited for you and pleasure. I want to get you on again as this podcast continues to grow. I want to keep getting your name out there. And again, this is very nostalgic to me. The 8-year-old me is very excited right now. And I mean, this is exciting. And I'm going to make sure my son and my daughter watch Rocky growing up. And then they might mistake you as the Mr. T when they see you as well. So it's going to continue, man.
That's perfectly fine, man. Man, love the kids.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you being here. Again, great role model, Mr. Supreme T. Make sure you guys follow social media links below. And thanks, man. Thanks for being here.
And I love it when the plan comes together. Thanks, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate it. Talk soon. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.